What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Steven's Nerd Corner. I know it's been a minute. I'm back. It's just been crazy holiday break, but we back. Long box is gonna be back. But you saw the thumbnail. We're gonna get straight into it, man. How are we gonna fix Marvel Comics in 2026? And I know that's a crazy statement, but I want to say this. I'm a fan. I'm still reading Marvel comics in general. I'm not someone who I haven't read and all this, and you know how it goes. And I feel I have some valid solutions. Obviously, this is just for fun. I mean, if someone from Marvel sees this, I mean, that'd be pretty dope, but I doubt it. But, I think I have somewhat some real solutions, and it's not just fire everyone. It's not one of those videos. Get rid of him, get rid of that. Nothing is working. It's all garbage. Burn the whole thing. None of that. None of that. I think there are some things that they're working, some upcoming things that I'm excited for that I think will hit. And we're just gonna get into that. So that's what we're gonna do, man. How we're gonna fix Marvel. So before we get into the negatives and what I think we should fix, I want to start it off with the positives. What good things they got coming out right now and upcoming. That I'm excited for. Like I said, that I think is gonna be a hit. So yeah, getting into the positives. Like I said, Iron Man, Joshua Williamson. I'm forgetting who's on art, but that one seems really dope. You got Stegman on covers. I think that's gonna be a hit. I'm really excited for that one. Daredevil, Stephanie Phillips, Lee Garbarett, right? I think that's how you say his name. I'm excited for that one. I think that one's definitely going to be a hit. But one thing I will say real quick, it's not going to be as big of a hit as it should be because of the Ultimate Endgame, blind bag fiasco, that whole thing. People are ordering less blind bags. They're just going to order less Daredevil. The only one that's going to take the hit is Daredevil. Thanks, Marvel. But it's whatever. I think it's still going to sell. Well, I'm excited. They got some dope covers, so I think Daredevil's gonna be a hit, and they got some ongoings that I'm really enjoying. I think they seem like hits from online. Like no one's we're not gonna know. Marvel knows. Infernal Hulk I think is really dope. I really hope they don't do anything with that. Mortal Thor is another dope one. Al Ewing. I mean that one's dope. Nova. Centurion, Jed McKay, that one just started. I think that one's really good. Seems to have found its footing. Captain America, Chip Zdarsky. That one is really, really dope. They're about 6 issues in. Chip is killing that one. Yeah, Chip is killing that, as I said. And I don't want to talk too much about minis because minis, they're not really sustainable. You got 4 issues. I mean, they could be great, but it's 4 issues, unless you're the Dark Knight Returns, which then they're not really doing that anymore. It's not gonna happen. That's probably it for the positives. Let's get into the negatives. I know it's not a lot, but one thing I'll say straight away that I kind of think Marvel needs to get at, just be honest with. I feel like they kind of lying. They'll come out with these series, new ongoing. Cancel that issue 10 all the time. How do you have so many ongoings ending at 10? If it's a mini, just tell me it's a mini. That's fine. Like I have no problem with that. I don't understand. Hey, 10 issue mini. I'll tap in. Ongoing. But the end at 10, there's so many that are great. Spider-Man Wolverine is amazing. Why is it ending at 10? What was another one? I liked Wolverine, and some of them you can tell when it's canceled. Some of them they feel like they told them outright it's 10. But I don't know. Like Wolverine was really good up until the end, and then it felt really weird. Like I said, Spider-Man, Wolverine, that's such a peak series. Everyone was talking about ending at 10. What's another one? New Avengers, I'm really liking, ending at 10. You know what I'm saying? You had a whole bunch. The last Iron Man run ended at 10, so that needs to stop. That whole 10 issue thing they're on, that's dead. You need or if it's gonna be 10 issues, just say that. Hey, 10 issue limited, 10 issue mini, whatever you want to call it, 10 issue maxi. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But this whole ongoing, but it ends at 10. What? That's the problem right now. There's not a lot of long ongoings, heavy ones. I mean, no, we got ASM, which we'll get into a little later, but it's bi-weekly. We got 2 issues a month. I mean, of course, you're gonna get deep in any run. But yeah. So that's one thing I'll say. That's gotta stop. We'll move on to. Let's talk about Spider-Man. We spoke about him already. ASM. I actually really like that run. I'm reading that run. I'm caught up and everything. I think Joe Kelly's great. Pepe Larraz is great. But one thing I'll say for a bi-monthly book, you need another heavy hitter on the artist. Like, I understand Baby JR has a fan base. And no hate to him. I think he's a legend. But he's not really pulling in names, I think. And he's not the artist he was. You know what I'm saying? So I think, they should sub him out, because the fact that he's still in this book doing issues is kind of like, I get, it's because he's consistent. For Marvel, they know he's gonna get the issue out. You don't have to worry about it. I get it, but like, dude, we need someone like a real heavy hitter. Like, imagine we had Pepe Larraz and Alessandro Capuccio doing ASM, switching back and forth between issues. That'd be huge. ASM is big. It's probably Marvel's still their highest selling book. Like, that's coming out right now. But I feel like it could still be so much bigger. Like, Spider-Man is doing good right now, but it's not running anywhere near, its peak. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's that. Venom, the whole, spoilers. Mary Jane being Venom, I'm kind of over that. Bring Eddie Brock back. I'll tap into Venom. Heard that. And then, all the Spider spinoff, Spider Boy, Spider Girl, Spider Gwen is now in the 616. Like, we got too many Spider people. Miles is cool, but that's it. He's pushing it. You know what I'm saying? Peter and Miles. That's it. Venom is not really a Spider guy. He's associated with Spider-Man, but he's not a Spider guy. So they need to really thin the herd with these Spider people. In my opinion, you need to get rid of them. Just we don't need Spider Boy. We don't need Spider Girl. We don't. I think Spider Gwen is way too much. I don't know why they brought her in the 616. I don't think she belongs. You got Peter. You got Miles. You're good. Miles, again, his is ending soon, but they'll relaunch. If they relaunch that with Bendis, they're good. If they relaunch Miles Morales Spider-Man with Bendis. While we're on that, Avengers is ending. That was one of a run that I wasn't reading, but that was kind of a long run. Jed MacKay, were they 35 issues? I think he did 36. It's not over yet. I think he's got an issue or two left to come out. It seems like it was somewhat well liked, but again, only 34 issues. Wasn't that big of a run. Clearly wasn't selling well. And we'll see. I mean, do they get Bendis on Avengers and Miles? Or is he only going to do one? If they get him on Avengers, I mean, Bendis on either one of those books is going to be huge. So, we'll see if they do that. That'll be big for a little. As long as Bendis brings it, and he's back on top, those books are going to sell. I'm not worried about that. What else can we move on? Let's move on to the X line. The X-Men, they've really been struggling, man. I read Age of Revelation. If you've been watching the pod, me and my co-host Lou, we've been keeping up. I really liked it, but it's clear it didn't hit. It seems like it was somewhat of a flop. I don't know. Even like Marvel executives came out and said it. Like, it's kind of crazy. So it seems like X-Men are really struggling, man. And I liked it, but they need an overhaul. They need to cut back on the line. The bloat is crazy. You have, what is it, like 12 minis and all? How many titles do you have coming out a month? Like 12? You had X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, X-Force, Wolverine, Danny Moonstar's got one, Rogue, Storm. Who else has got one? Like every X-Men has that. We got Magic and Colossus coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got way too many titles. You need to cut it down to, because like I said, they're at like 12 right now. And everyone has a solo, but yet they got the team books. What's going on here? They need to cut it back to the team books. Too many like minis and spin-offs and solo ongoings in the X line. Like we said, the only one. Well, I shouldn't say we said, but as history tells, Wolverine is the only one who could really sustain an ongoing by himself outside of the X line. And even he right now is really, really struggling. He's another one I think they just need to redo. But that's another thing. Their main line is struggling as well for the X books. Wolverine, me personally, I'm not reading it. I know a lot of people aren't reading it. A lot of Wolverines aren't happy. I think the art on it is good. Oh, I'm not sure how to say his last name. Martin Coccolo. His art is tremendous, but I'm no one's particular about the story. That whole thing with bringing back his mom, after all these, like, there was no suspense to any of that, no excitement, certain things they're doing. So I'm not reading. I heard the last issue was pretty good, but like I said, I'm not reading it. I think they need to revamp that huge. Me personally, if I were to fix that, I would put Daniel Warren Johnson on Wolverine. If you could get him to write and draw Wolverine at least for a year or two, throw him that bag, dude. Wolverine will be up there. I'm telling Wolverine might be your best selling book if you can make that happen. Even if you get him for an arc, but if you get him to do the ongoing for a while, telling you, you wouldn't have to worry about that selling. I'm trying to think who else I would put on that. I'm not sure who else I'd put on Wolverine, but that's probably my first pick. If you read the backup, you know that just seems like him. You can't. The only other person I would say maybe is Ben Percy, but he already did his run. I think he's tapped. I don't think he can really do much more. What else you got? You got Uncanny X-Men is really struggling. Gail Simone, David Marquez. I don't know, man. I'm not huge on Gail Simone. No hate to her or anything like that. But I don't know. It seems like they need to really revamp that one as well. Need to just needs something exciting. It seems like they're not really using that cast of the X-Men to their full potential. Then you got Jed MacKay. I like that X-Men book. I don't know why that book isn't selling. Like I said, Age of Revelation was really dope. The epilogue has been really great right now. I've really been enjoying that. So I'm not sure what they need to do. You know, you had Stegman on the book. Apparently that wasn't doing it. I mean, we got Tony Daniel now and Netho Diaz for a little bit. I think that's really good. I love Tony Daniel on the book. It's really dope. But I don't know if it's hitting, man. They might have to figure something out. Might have to get Jed MacKay out of there. I'm not too sure. I mean, who in this day and age do you put on a team book? You know, who's gonna write the X-Men? I think they really need to like hunker down and get somebody big, man. Secure a big time writer. Maybe bring someone back. You know, I'm not sure what they can do with that. You know, but they'll have to figure it out. Cause I mean, the X line is struggling, but they also, like I said, you gotta trim that fat. We got way too many X titles. But yeah, like a big thing with Marvel right now, they just need consistency, a consistent ongoing. We don't have a lot of that. Like how many Godzilla collabs, and I like some of them, but you know they're living off that right now. They had a Godzilla collab coming out every month, and then they had a Godzilla mini series right after that. You know, destroys the universe. Like, dude, you know the 20th Century Fox stuff they've been doing actually is really good. I should have mentioned that earlier. They should definitely keep doing more of that, but you know that well's gonna dry up soon. There's only so many crossovers with that you can do. You know, Star Wars right now is, I think, me personally, I think that IP is very dependent on the movies. And if you ask me, Star Wars is dead right now. I'm a huge fan, but I'm not interested in anything Star Wars. I know they got some new comics coming out, Darth Maul and some of the other ones. I have no interest in any of that. I don't know. Maybe if they do an Old Republic one, I might tap in, or like a Force Unleashed spinoff for some reason. I don't know, or a retelling maybe, but other than that, I'm really not interested in Star Wars. So there's not much I think they can really do about Star Wars. Like I said, unless those movies get back on track to generate interest in the IP, you know, I think that's how Star Wars works, if you ask me. Another series I really liked, I should have mentioned earlier as well, Fantastic Four, amazing. Ryan North is killing it, but they made him relaunch, and he didn't even do anything like big. Like there was no purpose to his relaunch. Like he got a new artist, he got Umberto Ramos, but I don't know. I felt like his relaunch wasn't warranted. You know, you kind of just reset his numbering in the middle of a really dope run. I don't know. They shouldn't have done that. Marvel, like I said, they need consistency. That was a good ongoing run you still had, which again, it's still going, but you just reset the numbering. Why? Like, you need to chill out with the relaunching. You know, yeah, the relaunch every year, every 2 years. Like, take it easy. You know, you didn't have to do that. You're on issue what 33. They relaunched him for no reason. At least with Hulk, he went from Incredible Hulk to Infernal Hulk, and there was a big story beat as to why. You know, so it kind of added to the hype a little bit. But Fantastic Four, when you relaunch stuff like that, I think you lose fans in the long run. They try to tap back in, and then the issue one might be $1 more than it usually is. Some people are on really strict budgets, man, on cash. Like, that's it. So I understand, you know, when some people fall out when they relaunch, and it'll be the same team, but there's a new number one, you know, so they can charge you extra, and it's just like, I'm not gonna read that no more. And you lost someone who was reading the book for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff like that I think they need to chill out on. But Fantastic Four is a good book. If you're not reading that, go read it. Ryan North is killing it. Umberto Ramos is killing it as well. I mean, that's a really dynamic duo I'm really enjoying. But yeah, you know, Marvel's got a lot, you know, like I said, certain things they can fix, but they can turn the ship around. It's Marvel. That's one thing I want to stress. It's not like it's gloom and doom, it's over, fire. Like I said, a lot of this is just placement, fix certain things. You know, Stegman is another one. What is he doing? If he got his own X book, that's smart. You know, he'd be my second choice for Wolverine. You put him on Wolverine, that'd be dope. You know, they got some free agents, it seems. I mean, if honestly, it seems like they need to just break out the bank, man. Like, get some big creators. If we get Bendis back, that'd be huge. You know, give me a Bagley mini series. I know he's semi-retired. Get him out, man. That'd be like, hey, let's do a mini. Get some of those guys out. Hey, we want a mini. Something good. You know, Capullo. I mean, he said he's doing something for Marvel. He better be doing something dope. A dope mini. You know what I'm saying? So they have the money. It's Marvel backed by Disney. You need big talent. You need big artists. You need to take big swings. You know, if we got like a old man Logan type of thing, but imagine Old Man Logan for someone else that's actually big like that. You know what I'm saying? Just we need stuff like that. You know, take those big swings, do something crazy again, and say, hey, we're gonna keep this going as long as we can. Like Absolute Batman, the Absolute series, big hit. We're just gonna keep this train rolling as long as we can. Ultimates was cool, you know, but you guys ended that. It's all over. 24. That's the cap for everything. 2 years. I mean, I get it. You know, like you wanted an ending to your story, but I mean, what do we, you know, you just ending that, you killing the collectability for it, and big swings like the Marvel Knight stuff. Those are minis that will sustain you as well. You need to do big swing minis like that. You know, take big swing. Like I'm saying a lot. I know I gotta chill, but that was amazing. You know, it seemed kind of gimmicky at first, but it actually story wise worked out. You know, that story's amazing. Same. I mean, we got the Punisher coming back with Ben Percy. That seems to be hype. You know, the Dan Panosian one with Jimmy Palmiotti, that Marvel Knights, another dope mini. You know, it's just dope stuff like that. We need more of that. You know, Spider-Man Wolverine, like I said earlier, great, but you're ending it at 10. We need stuff like that. But sustain it, man. Keep it going. Why is everything ending? Why does everything have to be a new number one? You know, you also lose fans with a new number one. You're losing all the fans you had previously. You know, you might not lose all of them, but not all of them are going to hop on for this new number one. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Tried as best I can, you know, give some pointers, fix what I think they could, you know, what they can fix, I guess. You know, try to be realistic about it, not just fire everyone and hire all these guys who are super old or have super important jobs elsewhere that they wouldn't leave, you know, stuff like that. So I hope I did a good job, you know, and I hope you enjoyed. But yeah, as always, appreciate you guys for tuning in, and peace.